Isn't that always the way? You turn the microphone on and you start to cough. I apologise. Hello, folks. Hope you're enjoying your day, whichever day it is you happen to be watching this. I'm recording it on a Wednesday. Beautiful sort of a Wednesday morning. G'day, Mick. G'day, Mandela. Thank you very much. Glad you liked the new intro. Sorry we didn't have a show last night. I had an unexpected visitor turn up and, it just sort of went much later than expected, and one thing led to another, nothing happened. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of an idea here. Hello, Michelle, and Annette in the room, Silver Girl, Billum, Daniel. Who else is popping up? Good to see you guys around and awake so early in the morning. Okay. It's nearly lunchtime, 5 to 12. I can't be long. John Wilson's about to turn up. We've got a bit on this afternoon, and we're heading off tonight to the Gold Coast for the My Place first meeting for My Place Gold Coast, happening at the Boat Harbour Tavern, or the Boathouse Tavern, rather, in Coomera. Now, pretty easy to find right near Dreamworld, so come along, join us there. 6:30, I believe it is. Obviously, great feeds there. I've had a few feeds there in my day. And there'll be a My Place get-together. It's all being run by a couple of people, Robin being one of them, and John being another guy down there I've been dealing with. So if you're interested in learning at all about My Place and what's going on, then please come and join us tonight at the Boathouse Tavern. It would be absolutely awesome. Particularly, too, if you happen to know a bit about boat building, just between you, me, and the gatepost, I know a boat that's been through a flood and might need a little bit of work. Got some split gel coat and things. So looking for some advice more than anything at the moment. So if you are a boat builder, know a bit about building boats or repairing boats, then I'd love to hear from you. Carl at vofhq.com, or if you happen to be at the Boat House Tavern tonight, then come up and say g'day. I've got a few pictures of something I'd love, just get your opinion on. That'd be the nicest way of putting it. What else is happening? Donald Trump, well, hasn't been arrested yet. Doesn't seem like he's going to be arrested this week, which sort of means all of the barricade building and the riot squad prepping that they did yesterday in New York went for naught. They've apparently also been informed in New York that Donald Trump will no longer be traveling from Florida to New York to hand himself in to the DA. If the DA wants to charge him and try to prosecute him, then he can do so via video link. Secure video link. This has all been at the instigation of the Secret Service, who basically get to veto everything. They've said he's not traveling. He won't be allowed to be handcuffed. There'll be no perp walk where the DA gets to parade him in front of cameras in handcuffs. So there'll be none of that. And in fact, it's all go away, come back next week. So interesting ploys all around. What's going on with Donald Trump? And that particular Soros-backed DA is quite interesting. And I don't think they've smelled the trap yet, but there is a significant trap waiting for them, I think, if they actually go ahead and arrest Donald Trump. It's a pretty big move on their behalf. Ballsy, one might suggest. So, that was pretty much what my day was consumed with yesterday, waiting for it all to blow up. It was interesting that the Antifa mobs and the Black Lives Matter mobs, they were primed. Of course, they wouldn't have been coming out as Antifa or Black Lives Matter. They'd be coming out as Trump supporters rioting in the streets, whereas every actual Trump supporter was saying the opposite. Trump is being credited as saying, get out on the streets and support me. I don't know if he's actually said that or not. I haven't, beyond reading a couple of reports, seen anything further or looked any further on it, if I'm honest with you. So he may or may not have said that. I guess it changes the context a bit if he did. But it seems like a weird thing to say, particularly for him. I've also seen some vision in the last, little while. I'm downloading it at the moment. He's been rushed off stage, whether there was an attempt on his life or there was certainly something that got the Secret Service or whoever's guarding him at the moment spooked, and they've rushed him off a stage. I think they need to practice that. They could probably get some help from a Formula One team, because it didn't look like a very speedy arrival. A kid with a well-sharpened slug gun could do a serious amount of damage in the time it took him to get off stage. So, don't know what that was all about. Could that have been theatre? Could have we been watching the theatre all over again? I guess there's a possibility of that too. So interesting times going down in America. 173 banks across the world went down last week, not 3. Mainstream media haven't told you much about it. A lot of African banks went down, funnily enough. A lot of European banks went down. And if you've been following our QSI story or our QSI lessons on Saturday nights, we are working on finding some answers from last week's show as well. But we're also digging up a few more questions. So this week's QSI show should be fairly interesting. And looking forward to Jim and Jane coming and having a bit of a chat with us and explaining more about the whole thing. Banking, banking at the moment, if you are with the Australian banks, you may have been notified, if you're with the Commonwealth Bank or the ANZ Bank, that you are now eligible to become part of their digital currency trial. If you have the ANZ Bank app on your device, odds are now it now has a button down the bottom that says ANZ Plus. That is the portal to the digital realm, I believe, of ANZ, or the digital coin world of ANZ. Now, this is not something that they have got set up, running and all that. This is a trial that's being done in conjunction with the Commonwealth Bank. And it's interesting that the Commonwealth Bank and the ANZ Bank are, two banks that we aren't completely sure are ISO 200022 compliant. Certainly NAB is, and NAB are doing their own thing with their own digital coin, and it's very different. And we've heard nothing by way of Westpac's involvement in any of this. They seem to be left out in the dry. Haven't heard of too many shaky banks in Australia at this point, outside of the fact that ASIC seems to have deregistered a great deal of the ANZ Bank's properties or corporations. So don't really know what that's about either. I'm sure all will be made clear in the fullness of time, and I've got people who know a bit more about that sort of stuff looking into it to see what it really means. Did they just deregister something and re-register it in a different place under a different name? Or are there more interesting registration details about those entities particularly that we might find interesting? Things like we found regarding the Australian Tax Office, for instance. So, yeah, pleased to have a little bit of a dig now and then and do your own research is what I'm trying to say. Do your own research. Get to it. Do your own research. Don't bank on me to be telling you everything. And because I can get it wrong, I won't tell you anything deliberately. I'm not going to tell you lies. But that doesn't mean I get everything right either. I just have a very inquiring mind. And sometimes it's just a matter of having enough rope, having enough time to seek out the answers, and they will materialize. They come forward. That is the hope that I work under. Not hope, it's the goal I work under. And I think it's working reasonably well. Some people would disagree, but evidence seems to be supporting my side of the argument at the moment. All right, folks, I don't want to hold you up during the middle of the day. Tonight, there probably won't be anything on the Rumble channel. I will, at some point, either take a laptop. It's a shocking day up here at the moment, pouring rain. So I don't know if I'll take a laptop or we'll just do something off the phone. But at some point, John Wilson and I this afternoon, probably with a beer in hand at the Boathouse Tavern, will do a little short live. I know the log of claims is ready. So there's been a lot of people who've been very interested in getting a hand on the log of claims. We will have details where, when, and how that can happen tonight. And hopefully by tomorrow, I'll have it up on the Voice of Freedom website too, so that you'll be able to grab it from there. But I do know that there'll be a QR code link you'll be able to get to it as well. It's just something we want your input in. It's nothing set in stone here. It's just a direction that the freedom movement could go if it is chosen by the people in it to go that way. And that's you. So I'm looking forward to hearing how all that works. Let me have a bit of a glance here and see what else we've got. Yes, massive army exercise operations in Jervis Bay. We've been talking about that, Chris, for the last couple of days. Thanks, mate. Got a bit of an idea of what's going on there. Commonwealth Bank did the first crypto test in Australia, in conjunction with the ANZ Bank. They've signed up to the same agreement, the same thing. Trump did say protest, protest, protest. Okay, well, if that's what he's done, that's what he's done. I got to say, I'm not really surprised. It's amazing New York has turned on him in just the way. He used to be New York's favorite son, but then obviously when he started running for president and going against big business in New York, it turned just about everybody against him, except for your average New Yorker. If you talk to anybody who's got a bit of money and is living off Wall Street and all those sorts of things, yeah, they hate him. But you talk to people who are living in what we would call the suburbs, I suppose, and there is a lot of support on the ground for him, particularly in the black suburbs, where Harlem, well, I suppose it's still Harlem, not where Harlem used to be, but Harlem used to be a really downtrodden place. Not anymore. It's a pretty good place. But crime in New York is going through the roof, and the DA is letting criminals off what would be felony charges with misdemeanor charges. And in this case with Donald Trump, is trying to push up a misdemeanor charge to a felony. The fact that the time limit to prosecute on this case was 2 years. It's now 7 years old. And the extenuating circumstances he's trying to pull aren't going to work. It's never going to see a court. So don't worry about that. But it will open up a very interesting door. And I think you'll find that door will explode right in the Democrats' faces. It's going to be a wild time. Steer clear of centralized digital currency, folks. Looking forward to talking more with QSI on Saturday night about centralized and decentralized coinage and this big changeover that happened on March the 20th. I think we have seen some evidence of things happening there. So worthwhile to dig a little deeper and find out what the guys from QSI believe is going on in the background. They're not going to uproot the system, I guess, all in a week. It's going to be a slow burn on this one. Slow by what context? I guess that remains to be seen. Have yourself a great day, folks. If you're out and about in it, be safe on the roads and all that sort of stuff. If you haven't done so and feel the urge, please join us with a membership. You can go to vofhq.com and sign up there for as little as $1.25 a week. And every little bit helps. And trust me, they are little bits that are coming in, but they all help. They really, really help. So I can't thank those of you enough who've already done that. And for those who've made a donation, direct off the donate button too, if you want to do it that way instead. Every donation goes to help getting us on the road. We're trying to get up to Michelle Lee at the moment to raise a bit of money to basically fund us on the road for 3 days up there, 3 days back, and whatever we need in between, trying to nail it down so we arrive maybe a day before she does. And at the moment, a little bit of an update on Michelle. I believe she's planning on cracking the 300 nautical mile barrier today. So she'll be under 300 nautical miles from Cairns today. We are expecting her to make Cairns somewhere, I believe, in the next 2 weeks, 2 to 2.5 weeks. So very exciting times for her. And if you go to YB Tracker, you can see her blog on there. She's writing stuff, and not every day, but now that she's nearly home, she's starting to see, evidence of civilization, as it turns out. Pretty shitty stuff. Lots of rubbish floating by, bottles, an upturned boat, lots of plastics, all that sort of stuff. So she knows she's getting nearer and nearer land because there is a whole heap of crap floating past her, and she hasn't seen that in some time. So sad as it may be, I'm sure she'll have something to tell us about that when she reaches shore. I was hopeful of recording an interview with her today and having it to play tonight, but it doesn't seem like that's been able to come off. We are entirely dependent on the phone signal that she gets in whichever part of the pond she's bobbing around in at the moment. So, and if her weather is anything like our weather here at the moment, she's not going to get a track to a satellite to be able to get a line out. So unfortunately, not today, but I do hope in the next, very little while, we will have Michelle on for a chat, hopefully before she hits land, and she can tell us just how excited she is. Got to be pretty good. At least there's one thing out there. For the last 225, 30 days, she hasn't had to worry about dickheads on the road.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back! Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!